I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Congressman Chip Roy spoke at a House Judiciary Committee hearing on Wednesday about the Supreme Court. The Texas Republican called out Democrats for attacking the Supreme Court majority. Roy also claimed that Democrats wanted the court to, quote, put their thumb on the democratic process. Take a listen here.
Our colleagues, and particularly Mr. Jones, made the case when he said, let's not pretend that this is enough. He said nothing will be enough, but relegating the current members of the majority into the minority by packing the court. This isn't about ethics and transparency and recusal. Everyone watching gets the joke. That's not what this is about. This is about raw politics, a disdain for the current majority, a disdain for specific members of the court, and in particular, Justice Thomas. And I think in particular, because he's a conservative black man. And I think everybody gets the joke. Yeah, they said it, exactly, as my colleague from Florida made very abundantly clear. Let's not forget that when appropriate questions of recusal were being raised about Justice Kagan for having served as Solicitor General in the administration and then sitting on the court during Obamacare litigation, reasonable questions about recusal, that the immediate effort by the left was to do what? Attack Justice Thomas because his wife offered public opinions stating her opposition to Obamacare. In other words, this is not the first time. This is not the first time that we've had this conversation. It's not the first time that Ginny Thomas has been attacked personally, or Justice Thomas has been attacked. And of course, this president, having been the chairman of the Judiciary Committee and having sat over the absurdity that was the hearing for Justice Thomas, knows full well exactly what they're doing. That's what this is about. And we all know that. I would also note that as we're looking here about what we're going to deal with next week with the hearing and talking about the leaked opinion and talking about Roe versus Wade, that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle sure as hell weren't bothered by this leak, but were when there were leaks that showed a disdain for conservative Hispanic Miguel Estrada in 2003, when there were memos outlining specific opposition by my Democratic colleagues, Democrats in the Senate, trying to take down, tear down, and destroy Miguel Estrada, specifically black and white language, because he's a conservative Hispanic. Oh man, can't talk about that memo because that was a leak of an internal Democrat memo. No, that was a horror that we couldn't talk about, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. But crickets, now that the Supreme Court has had a leak of an opinion coming from SCOTUS. I've listened to some amusement about talking about how the court was missing out on having Merrick Garland on the court, that paragon of moderation, don't you recall, from all of those talking points of the left, that he was the moderate, right? The moderate who just ruled that mental health must be considered for known criminals applying for asylum coming into the United States. That paragon of moderation targeting parents in coordination with the National School Board Association. Like, everyone understands what this is all about, and it's all always come back down to Roe, and we'll have more to talk about that next week with respect to that case. I've heard enough from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle talking about how that is going to, because we couldn't, I think the quote from somebody on the other side of the aisle, we can't win that issue. We can't win that issue in public debate and discourse. Well then, if that's the case, what the hell are you worried about? If we can't win the argument on abortion in the Democratic debates, supposedly, then what's the concern? We know what the concern is. You want the court to put its thumb on the democratic process, and that's what this is about. I yield back.
Time.